functioning of the work of the building to the public at large, it's helpful to have proximity to people. It's helpful to know them. It's helpful to understand their deadlines and their work environment, so forth. But what about the public at large? I mean, obviously, we live in a time when, a smaller percentage of the population has actually had active duty military experience because we have an all volunteer force for several generations now. I mean, what do you think the public might lose as a consequence of this?
Well, that's the key point, because more and more Americans have no contact with the military. And so the only thing they know about what's going on at the Pentagon is what they read in the news media. And it's just not enough for the secretary to put out social media tweets. We're becoming more and more distant with our military, and that's not a good thing. So anything like this that puts further distance between the reporters and the military is counterproductive. It's just a bad idea, and it's not going to do the Defense Department any good.
We only have about 30 seconds left, but do you, as we mentioned, numerous media outlets, including this one and Fox News, have rejected this policy. Do you see any way this resolves?
Well, one way might be in court. There's already talk about lawsuits to challenge this. I don't know how successful that will be. For now, the Pentagon seems pretty hard over on this. My hope is that they realize that this is just a bad idea and that they'll back away from it after a little time passes.
That's Pete Williams, former Assistant Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs. He served in the administration of President George H.W. Bush. Pete Williams, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This is NPR News.
WNYC supporters include the New York Historical and its stand-up comedy series, New York Hysterical, taking place every Friday in October starting at 6 p.m. with pay-as-you-wish admission. More at nyhistory.org.
Netflix presenting Ballad of a Small Player from director Edward Berger. Colin Farrell stars as a high-stakes gambler whose past starts to catch up with him. Now playing in select theaters. On Netflix October 29th.
Abramarama presenting Wisdom of Happiness, a new documentary featuring the Dalai Lama and executive produced by Richard Gere. Wisdom of Happiness at Quad Cinema beginning October 17th. Learn more at wisdomofhappinessfilm.com.
When new technology changes the world, is it worth all the intense disruption? We consult an authoritative source.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden with the reminder that a password manager for business is designed to be an investment in protecting employees, executives, and IT teams. Bitwarden.com. And by WSJ Plus, a news bundle offering global insights and market tools from 4 business and finance publications so readers can explore every angle.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. We begin our program here with a conversation with a Marketplace listener. He spends a lot of time about a half hour north on the train from Chicago. Oh, and he won the Nobel Economics Prize this week. Joel Mokyr is a professor at Northwestern University who, along with fellow Nobel winners Philippe Aghion and Peter Howitt, studies how technology and culture mix. Mokyr himself looks at history to understand how open exchanges between scholars and people who make things inspire each other for enduring economic growth. Professor Mokyr, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad that the culture of growth that you've long written about is here and is ingrained. And when you look at the famed hockey stick graph of the economy over centuries, not much, then boom, up it goes with innovation. It all seems like it's here to stay, this culture of growth. But what's your view? Could we still mess this up?
Count on the human race to mess things up. It's institutions that screw up. That, I think, is a huge concern. Because if institutions don't improve while technology improves, you're giving more and more power to people who are likely to abuse and misuse it.
Yeah, and a new challenge emerging, right? The emergence of this revolutionary technology, artificial intelligence. One expects it to increase economic growth, but you also want the other piece of this, not just growth, but indeed prosperity, right?
Yes, indeed. And, I'm actually not worried about, I don't share this sort of apocalyptic view of artificial intelligence, that it's going to replace the human race. And, I think AI is another tool for us to do research, and it will make our knowledge, much more advanced, much faster than it did before. And I'm all for that. I don't think any of the pessimistic predictions about AI will come true, but I wish I could say the same about institutions and politics.
Well, I mean, indeed, that does bring us back to your previous point that institutions and politics would have to evolve along with this technology so that the technology, for instance, doesn't get abused.
Here is the dilemma. In the past, we've had major technological changes, but that change was relatively slow. And so institutions had the time to adjust, so labor relations changed, the organization of work changed, and it all worked out reasonably well. But if technological change is very, very quick, then institutions will fall behind. And once that disequilibrium occurs, societies could be in trouble and things could happen that nobody expects.
Yeah. And with all this disruption, it's a little hard to plan one's training and career. You've thought about that, right? We just don't know with technological advances what the big jobs will be.
You always have people who end up on the losing end of the stick. And, there's not very little you can do. But the alternative is worse, right? So if you have a society which is completely technologically stagnant, in which there's very little progress, I would say what society should do is, above all, they should understand that this is happening and give people perhaps a kind of training that is more flexible, that is more adaptable, that is more agile. So if you are trained for one task and then it turns out to become obsolete, you can easily switch to another task. But it's the price you pay for progress, David. There's no other way.
Northwestern's Joel Mokyr, who along with Philippe Aghion and Peter Howitt, are winners of this year's Nobel Economics Prize. Professor, again, congratulations.
Thank you so much, David.
We embrace multi-channel technological change. More with the Econ Nobel winner at marketplace.org. Now, there's no reading on September inflation that had been due today because of the government shutdown. It will come out next week because we need it to calculate cost of living adjustments for Social Security. S&P futures are up 0.6% now.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by TreviPay, a managed B2B payments platform for global brands, offering zero-touch AR plus tools to help reduce DSO at TreviPay.com. And by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at Schwab.com.
It happened. Federal funding was cut from the budget, all to control the narrative. But here's what we and you know. You can't defund curiosity. You can't defund the need for uncomfortable questions and inconvenient facts. You can't defund the demand for accountability. That's exactly why the funding was cut, to silence our voices, deny civil discourse and free speech, defund our reporting. But you can't defund the truth. We've been asking the important questions for decades. We're not stopping now, but we need your help. Because you value independent journalism, tough questions, and holding power to account, the truth needs you. Defend it today at WNYC.org.